Hey everyone, thank you for joining this episode of the Free Fortitude podcast. I have a special guest with me today. His name is Freedom Johnson. He is awesome. I've known him for a couple years. We met in Fort Worth in the same space, same real estate space. Freedom, why don't you go ahead and tell these people a little bit about yourself?
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, my name's Freedom Johnson, 36-year-old, married 15 years, wife, 3 kids, and moved to a whole new state. The career that I do is real estate. The ministry that I have it's real estate is the excuse to get to minister to people and kind of be a steward. So I love what I do and why I do it. But yeah, married with 3 kids, man, trying to figure it out just like everybody else. You know what I mean? Just really trying to figure it
Understood.
out and just practicing as many good godly habits as I can and asking for forgiveness every time I mess up.
Yeah, for sure, man. Dude, I just want you to know how grateful I am for you, man. The second I met you, I knew you were a dude after God's heart. And I
Yeah.
feel like we just connected right off the bat. You know, the time sitting in your truck, just chopping it up about real estate and stuff like that. Like I remember that stuff like it was yesterday, man. And I just
Um,
want you to know that you are a light and that I'm excited for our conversation today, but I'm excited for these people to see who Freedom Johnson is, man, and that you are a light. You've been through some stuff and you're willing to share it, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I still miss those moments, man, out there in Fort Worth in the office. I miss it so much. So
Today, I really wanted to talk about this thing called Fortitude, right? This is the
yeah.
Free Fortitude podcast. And, you know, I just want to touch a little bit on the fortitude within business, right? You express that you're in real estate. Man, real estate's kind of been on a wild ride itself. It's been wrapped up in a tornado going this way, that way too. I just think maybe there's a couple things that you could share within the realm of real estate and business, maybe that you've been through, you know, back up against the wall type stuff.
Back was up against the wall yesterday. So yeah,
Yes.
that's the game. That's the game that we in, right? Trying to figure
Yes.
it out. It's always like when you get into that gray area, trying to figure it out. But I think business is the biggest self-development program you can be a part of because it is a reflection of yourself. So
Mm,
your outcome is really a product of the internal work that you're doing and telling
mm,
yourself inner dialogue that you're having with yourself. So I remember um, I think real estate changed my life just because I remember when I was at this crossroads where I was frustrated with how I was living, but curious about a new way of living. And when real estate came across, that was the first time I got exposed to seeing different, in a really big way. It's tough to do something that you've never done because you're really walking on faith. You don't have like strategy to it. So
yeah.
that it took a lot of heart for me. But the fear of me not succeeding
Mm,
was greater than the fear of me actually attempting. You know what I
mm,
mean? So I think that motivation to be like, well, it's either gonna work or it's gonna be back to this, and I don't want this. So I think, man, I have fear. I definitely deal with fear, but I have learned to become friends with fear. I feel like fear is like a sign of like the devil sees what's on the other side if you get through it, and he's just trying to
oof,
stop you before. You know.
oof.
So for me, I have learned I love when I'm embracing fear. Let me say that.
Mm,
I love when I'm
yeah.
embracing fear because I remember that, oh, okay. So the devil he's probably got a 10-year run on me. He see what's gonna happen. So he's gonna try to
Right.
stop me now. So, oh, well, you wouldn't be stopping anybody who wasn't doing anything. So let's go. So I kind
Yeah.
of turn that switch on and it's like, yeah, let's go after it. But I deal with fear all the time. I could tell you I have a ton of the scareful thing is being married, bro, and having conversations. I'm
Dude.
still figuring that one out. So business was like it's either this or what I got.
Yeah.
Marriage is definitely like, how am I gonna say this, and how do I put my ego to the side to take the pride out and sacrifice myself. That's definitely a bigger one for me for sure.
I remember a mentor of mine told me, you know, your spouse is a mirror.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
they're a mirror to you, and so when you do step up to have some of those conversations, you're like,
Oh,
I'm looking dead at myself right now. It's all eyes on me. I need to figure this out. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think marriage, I would say, I mean, after going through divorce and stuff like that, it is one of the hardest things
yeah,
in life, I feel like, because you're dealing with somebody who's one way and
yeah,
somebody who's a completely different way. You know, like even if you're the same type of personality and stuff, there's different desires, there's different stuff, there's always things. I mean, just just making a cup of coffee, how you like your coffee, you know, stuff like that, just basic stuff. And then
yeah,
you get into the challenging stuff and it's like, okay, how are we breaking this down? How can we get through this?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it is a challenge. And to speak to that too, like entrepreneurship, you know, doing the real estate thing, starting different businesses and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
family.
Yeah.
How does that's like an awkward dance, right?
No such thing as balance. Nah, no such thing, bro. I think it's
Mm,
seasons though. So I do look at life from seasons. I don't have balance. I'm gonna be straight up. I am obsessed with the game. I'll do it
mm,
all day. I'll do it all day
mm,
if I could. But I do have to know that I do know that there are seasons. There's a great book by Jim Rohn called The Seasons of Life. And true story, I never finished the book. But the reason why I never finished it is because I got through the first 10 pages through the book and was like, I had never seen life like this before. So I
yeah.
was like, all right, I'm good. Let's go. And I got it on Audible that I listen to it every now and then. But the seasons of life is how I look at trying to balance entrepreneurship and marriage and kids and responsibilities, because I've got 3 children, one wife, uh, and another wife with business, another wife with working on my body, another wife
Yeah.
with working on my mind. You know what I'm saying? So I got all these different hats that I wear and I cannot balance them all. I just try to approach them and okay, I'm gonna give this much attention to these other things, but I do know that my wife is the priority. So it's a lot of sacrifice, and it's a ton of times when I want to just lock in and be at the gym longer, or I want to go travel longer, or I want to go work longer. But God gave me her, and we are
Mm,
one.
mm,
So like you said, it's you talking, it's you looking back at you, talking to you about you, asking you, what are you doing?
mm,
And that's tough to always hear you. Like you need to come home. It's seasons. It's not. There are seasons when, like 2 years ago, I had a season where I was really just locked in on the family.
mm,
So I was really just coasting with real estate. It's like, I'll do it when it comes. And then, the seasons changed. And it was like, all right, well, now we're going to lock in. Now I'm in a new season. I got kids in sports. So, I can lock in and work as much as I can. But at 5 o'clock, bro, I got 3 kids. I got to be at 3 different places at one time. So, me and my wife's date nights don't look the same, and we don't get them a couple of weeks. But that's the season. You see what I'm
mm.
saying? So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't believe in balance. I do believe in having a balanced, overall healthy life. But I
Right.
don't try to balance these, like trying to balance these things. You can only hold the weight for so long. If it's all the weight, eventually it's going to come down. So I don't try to balance those things.
Right.
I just try to approach them like with perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good, man. Yeah, that there we get in this mode, man, and we think, oh, you know, I'll give some to here so it comes back up and then, you know,
Hmm.
but it's never really like that. I'm a type of guy like when I'm in the present,
Yeah.
what's in front of me
Hmm.
is what I'm paying the most attention to.
Gotcha.
And it can be a hindrance sometimes because I'm the type of person too that gets wrapped up in it and
Hmm.
it's like all or nothing,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm giving 115% to
Yeah.
this thing
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pulling me out of it is like it's like getting a kid off candy, bro.
Absolutely.
It's hard, you
Yeah.
know? And
100%.
so, but I've learned to regulate that, right? And you learn things to pull yourself out and realize, like you're talking about, you got other responsibilities, you got kids, you got a wife, and you've got to pay mind to that and
Yeah,
realize, like, hey, what I'm doing right here, this season, right, is
yeah,
ending for this. Now I'm going to focus on this, and this is going to be my season. And
yeah,
knowing that I'll be able to go back to that, I'll be
yeah,
able to build that up.
yeah,
And I think, our society, right, it's microwave. It's like,
mm,
I got to have it all right now.
yeah, yeah,
And we can easily get entangled in that and feel like, oh, we gotta clear this contract right now.
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it is
mhm,
time sensitive, right?
yeah.
Speak to that a little bit though. Like, what does that look like for you whenever you're working on a client's contract or something like that, and something does come up and you do have to drop that for what does that look like?
Conversations and expectations, man, is really, I'm dealing with one right now. The guy called me at 8 o'clock last night, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm with the kids right now, bro. So I'm gonna get to it tomorrow." But I've learned, um, I'm not the expert. I'm just saying, bro, seasons of life just really set the foundation for me. It really gave words to it, and then but the Bible gives me the principles. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So you teach people how to treat you. So I look at my interactions from that perspective. Like if I say okay to this now, I'm teaching them that they can do this. And nobody matters more than, my family, because that's my garden. You know what I'm saying? So me as a farmer, I really got to tend to that garden, make sure that I'm stewarding over them. So I'm not going to let any outside elements try to be a weed into that, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be a realtor my entire life. I'm going to be 65 years old one day, and nobody's ever going to be thinking, and if Freedom only sold that one house, he'd be the greatest man in the world. You know what I'm saying? So,
facts.
so just having that perspective just makes me always make sure that I'm trying to set expectations and communicate with clients, but it also is the same principles I gotta have in the marriage too. But I get caught up and locked in. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Sometimes I gotta be pulled out of it. Like, hey, free, you're supposed to go over here at 6:30. Hurry up and get off that call. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So I just have to set these, but I do try to. I call it showing up for yourself, and I really want to show up for myself every time, because I don't like how I feel when I teach somebody how to mistreat me. I hate the way I feel. I'm not even mad at them. I'm like,
mm,
dang, I didn't show up for myself. I should have set a boundary there early, because now I'm dealing with
mm,
now I got to retract. So I make sure that I try to, at least 70% of the time, probably set expectations that, hey, this is the career that I do, but this career is not my purpose, and this family is everything, and this career funds that purpose. This is how I.
yeah.
So I'm at
When
peace
did that when did that click for you to start
uh,
showing up for yourself?
when I was in. So I'm from Oklahoma, moved to Texas, came back to Oklahoma, right? So when I was in Oklahoma, I'm 36 now, so I'm probably like 21, 22 years old or something like that. And I do remember, people stepping over boundaries with maybe me or my wife, or just having unwarranted, uninvited opinions.
Mhm,
So I just remember how I reacted to those and how I mishandled those by not handling those. So I just think, long story short, here's what changed. Here's where I remember my life changing. That when I was life is a drive. You're on this highway of life, and you do hit intersections in your life based on wherever you at. I was at this
mm,
intersection called Frustration Street and Curiosity Avenue. So when I was right there, I decided I didn't want to do whatever I was doing then, but I don't know what to do. I don't have the skills. I don't have the mindset. I doubt God. I'm going through the season where I'm trying to doubt God so I can release myself of what expectations from my family about religion, and I'm trying to get more personal with spirituality. And that
yeah.
season, being on Frustration Street and Curiosity Avenue, I met a mentor, and he had everything that I wanted. And what he was humble, he was kind, he was gentle, but you could feel that he had leadership and authority. But you could tell that he was a servant, and
Mm,
that's why he had such influence around everybody else. He was fly, he was rich, he was married, and his kids was there.
mm,
That was my Uncle Phil moment from like Fresh Prince. I met
yeah.
Uncle Phil, and I was like, yeah, I want that. Whatever you're doing, I want that. And that right there gave me the blueprint. It was like, all right, I'm gonna set boundaries, but I don't have to be so loud about it. I could just
Mm,
really be sure about what I'm doing and know that I'm just coming from a good place. And let me speak more grace than truth all the time. Because I'm truth. I'm like, it don't work like that. No, you got to do it like
mm, mm.
how do I have how do I be graceful and truthful? Just be more like Jesus. Well, who looked like Jesus out here? Ronnie Ladd, my mentor.
Recognizing in somebody else that they're doing it right, right? I think we're in a society too that, you know, we see doing right and getting a leg up, you know, and getting to that next level. We
Yeah,
see that as competition.
yeah, we do.
My favorite analogy, coming from a guy named Bedros Keuilian, he
Mhm,
talks about crabs.
mhm.
He talks about crabs in a bucket.
Yeah,
And he was out on vacation and he saw these crabs, and one of them was like just about to get out of the bucket, right? And he
yeah,
let the fisherman know. He was like, "Hey, your crab's about to run."
yeah,
And he was like, "Oh, no, just watch what happens." Dude, those crabs started pulling that other crab down,
yeah,
and he never got out.
yeah,
Like, just when they get to the top and they're about to throw that back leg over,
yeah,
yank,
yeah.
you
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah,
But being able to recognize it in somebody else and be like, "Hey, I can learn from this. I
absolutely.
can grow." And
Yeah,
that's another thing. That's a whole nother topic is growth, right? Like that's what this podcast is about is how are we growing? You know, you said you got a relationship with building your body. You got a relationship with your business. You got a relationship with your family, and you're constantly working to grow and build that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
But
Yeah,
but we get knocked on our butts, bro. Like it happens. Like we'll be cruising, everything's good, and then we get that phone call, that deal dropped,
yeah,
or we, we come home and the woman's like giving
yeah,
us that attitude, different things, and we're like, what's going on here? Like it was
yeah,
cool. What's up? You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard. The bottom line is this life is not easy.
Yeah,
And we do face challenges, but being able to see, like, I love what you said about fear, right?
mhm.
Like you've like built a relationship with it and you're allowing it to propel you forward because you recognize that, look, this might actually be something.
Words mean a lot. I wouldn't say I have I'm not in union with it.
Right, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm aware of its purpose. I'll say
Mm,
that.
yeah.
I'm aware that it exists.
Mm,
So instead of me like focusing in on it, I really try to dissect what is fear itself trying to stop me from.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
but anytime like I'm doing a Bible study right now, and here's one of the things that I learned about our thoughts. It said, your body is a garden, your heart is the soil, and your thoughts are the plants that grow. So if I really do have a lot of fear, then what that means is like I'm growing these thoughts in. So when somebody
Mm,
looks at me, they're going to see this garden of fear. You
mm,
know, and so I do have a respect for that it does exist because I'm human,
mm.
but I try to look deeper than that and be like, what you trying to stop me from? You
Yeah,
know, so but I do have my moments, and I really try to ask myself. I don't like the way I feel in that moment though.
right.
Where, oh, I hate dog. I
Yeah.
hate, oh, I hate it so much. The doubt, the thoughts, and then you can feel whenever like that spiritual presence is on you, because you got you like 10 steps ahead of how you gonna protect yourself.
Yeah.
instead of just leaning in. And now I want to be, my end goal is I want to be the laziest warrior, WORRY. I just want to be like, oh, that happened. Hey, God, I need you to, yeah, take care of that.
Knowing who your dad is and
Yeah,
what he's got for you and how he fights for us. That's huge, man. That's what got me through a lot, whenever I was going through stuff is recognizing again my identity, right? I think that's a huge piece is recognizing who we are as sons,
yeah,
right? And heirship and this whole deal of authority and stuff like that. That word can really mess people up,
yeah,
authority,
oh,
but recognizing who holds authority
yeah,
and what that authority is, like, I get into it sometimes with people, and then I immediately remember this is not a battle against flesh and blood, but of
yeah, yeah,
spiritual principalities,
very true.
right? Like,
Very-
it's
I-
not between me and you, right? It's between spiritual principalities that are at war, and it's manifesting itself through us, you know, and
Absolutely.
putting that authority like where it's due, and that is God, man, because He's the only one that,
Yeah,
I've been some dark pits, man, and I didn't know how I was gonna get out. There ain't nobody throwing me down a rope,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah.
I'm in it, and I put myself there, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And so sometimes it takes us getting to those low points and recognizing, okay, God is God. I was wrong for even thinking that I could do it on my own, that I could make a way where there seemed to be no way with some conjuring or whatever, like
yeah,
at the end of the day, it is Him. He's the
yeah.
one who makes it all happen.
I know for me, man, I gotta remember those receipts of goodness for
Mm,
God. Because a lot of times I can remember things where I was like, yo, I don't like how this is going. I'm gonna pray about it, and
mm,
then that random call or that random um um well, I remember one specifically. It wasn't a call. Like when I went to go meet the person, I had a problem with them, and I had a
mm,
problem with the agreement that we had, and
mm,
it reached. I felt like I over delivered,
mm,
and they were still going to get what they wanted from,
mm-hmm.
out of their something that we agreed upon. Yeah, it was like it was a deal. It was a real estate
Right,
deal, and the agreement was like, hey, if all you gotta do is bring the deal, I'm gonna do everything, and then you'll get 20%.
right,
But I did 80%. I'm like, God,
right.
that don't feel right, man. That don't feel right. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't their agreement. It was somebody else who told them to. This is going to be your agreement if you help the freedom out.
Right.
So then I was like, I don't like how it feel, God, because if I do that, man, I signed the contract for like 5 deals to do that. I
Mm,
did like 3 deals where they weren't even involved. I was like, that don't feel right. Instead of me talking to them, prayed about it. Closing day, Kelly was the name. Kelly came through at the closing table and was like, Freedom, I can't even take $1. I didn't do nothing. I was like, yeah, I need to start praying more. Yeah, I remember those receipts, uh, but also, for me, I was literally talking to somebody yesterday, right? Real talk. I'm at lunch,
mm,
and the guy was talking. I was like, man, I really just don't. I'm not taking. I don't have any expectations for people to be the thing that gets me where I need to get, or like I just look at people like we all trying to figure it out a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just aware of that. But I have been aware of that since right before my parents divorced. I remember looking up outside, it was dark, and I'm like working on my basketball moves or something. I looked up at a light, and I looked back at the house, and I was like, they're not Superman and Superwoman. They're really just trying to figure it out. I'm 11 years old. From that day, that perspective, I just haven't taken things so personal. So that is what kind of relieves me from having the expectations on man, and keeps me from idolatry a lot, because I recognize like everybody trying to figure it out. David is a man after God's own heart. This man had a moment when he was over there looking at Bathsheba, and he was just a dude. in that moment. And then he knocked off his soldier because of that. Then he had the baby. Then the baby died. Trying to figure it out, So I
Yeah.
can't look at him like David is who I want to be. I'm like, oh no, he's in this book because he tried to figure it out too.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
One of my mentors always used to say, like, you put your trust in man and you're gonna get let down every time.
That's a fact, man.
Like,
That's a fact.
because we're not God. We're not perfect. We're not gonna come through how we should sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like we are imperfect, we are finite, we are like small in comparison to the one who created the universe,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah,
And being able to take the time to pursue that relationship.
yeah.
Touch on that a little bit. What does that look like? And what has that looked like for you? I remember for sure in times for me, like there's been where I'm like at the end of my rope, bro.
Yeah,
Like, all right, God, I need you to come through here because if you don't, it's gonna be terrible. Those prayers we pray.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, I used to be a youth pastor, and I talked to the students. I'd be like, don't be praying about your test. You could have studied,
yeah.
but you didn't, but like we get in those moments where we're like, oh God, I need you right now.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes it can be scary.
yeah,
We're trusting in somebody that we cannot see,
yeah.
you know.
I say personal development is personal.
Mhm.
So spiritual development is spiritual, but it's personal. It's a one-on-one thing, man. Like you don't know some of the things that some of the doubts and thoughts and fears that I have had because you don't wake up and like I wonder how freedom's doing. And I don't mean that in a bad way because I don't wake up like if I'm hungry, my first thought isn't, I wonder if Uriah's ate today. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah.
really is a personal thing. So
Right.
for me, I mean, I'm not a great Bible quoter, so I won't, but I'll paraphrase. Like it really is this path where it's you and him. Like before
Mhm.
Eve got there, it was really just Adam and God.
Mhm.
And that's a personal thing. It's me and him talking. So I just try to make moments,
Mhm.
in my day and in my week where, I'm praying and I'm meditating and I'm trying to implement, a principle from the Bible. And I try to do that on more so than not, just because I want to get reps in of
Mhm.
having these receipts of his goodness. So you can't
Mhm.
like not talk to God. You can't not pray and can't uh ever be a good person and then expect goodness to be happening because
Mhm.
where your energy goes is where energy flows. So I just try to stay in that repetition of consistent conversations, man, and
Mhm.
just trying to be a good person. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm really not religious, but
Yeah.
I'm really personally, spiritually focused on I want to be better, God. Like, show me
Yeah.
how to be a better leader. Show me how to be a better steward. Help me not have ownership over these things and recognize I'm a manager of it.
Mhm.
You will pass this on to the next person.
Mhm.
So, I just try to be like more like David and less like Saul in those moments when I
Mhm.
thought for myself, like kind of count on my own understanding. Just because I've had receipts whenever I didn't have the understanding, things still came through. So I really try to. That's probably my biggest practice. Try to remember those receipts.
What is something that you really want to leave people with?
My father gave me a quote that I take and pass down to my kids too, and it's today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Mhm.
That perspective just helps me not harp on yesterday and pain and blame. But it does allow me to like, okay, I can just start today.
Mhm.
Be okay with wherever it's at. I would say, yeah, that'd probably be if I could leave three things, it would definitely be that. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. You can, if you believe. Your story is so unique, and that's what makes you special because there is somebody. who can relate to that. And we are not supposed to relate to the masses. We're not supposed to do what everybody else is doing. Like, I hope the world don't think Jesus was like this super kind, nice guy. Like, this dude was a radical to these people. He's like, this man is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's only so few to follow. You know what I'm saying? So, but your story, like, there's somebody that's like, yo, I can connect with that. Because I can't connect with somebody who is a drug addict story. I don't have that story. You know what I'm saying? I don't have, being Chinese or Mexican. I can't talk about the culture from there. I can't connect. I'm not trying to be like, yo, I want to just touch everything. No, I want to touch those who can relate to me because I do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just want people to find power in their story because we all need to relate to somebody who's overcoming something. So I'll never be a guy. It's been great. Nah, man, this stuff has been a hard road. I don't know everything about marriage. I'm still figuring it out. Don't know everything about business. I'm still trying to figure it out. Still trying to figure it out. Been signed the papers for divorce before. Been sued before. Been shoot, I probably had about 5 DUIs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to figure it out. But I take pride in today's the first day of the rest of my life. Let's start the day.
Yes.
I just want people to know like that matters, that you matter. You know what I'm saying? And don't try to be like nobody else, man, because what's the point of being a generic when you can be exclusive? You know what I'm saying? So
that's powerful. That's powerful, dude. No, I appreciate that in a big way because that's the message, right? Is you are uniquely created. Like we've been given different deposits from God.
Yeah.
That only we can distribute to this world.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
And when you recognize that, and you recognize the honor it is to co-labor with him in his kingdom, and be able to meet people where they're at. They're walking the same road that you walked on, and being able to say, hey, watch out for that hole over there.
Yeah. 100%.
That's huge, and you're only going to get to that place when you're being you.
Man, that's the realest thing.
Like you're going to let your food get cold on your own plate, looking at somebody else's plate.
Yeah. And I've been in that season too. I remember the metaphor I can give it to you is like if everybody was running their race, I was wanting to run the race, but wanting the people running the race with me to see how fast I was running with them. That is the dumbest thing I could think of now. Like, I'm not even focused on winning. I'm focused on keeping up. Like that.
Right.
I'm not even like that's crazy. So we all have been there. My posture, my energy had changed once I just recognized I am special. But it takes a lot of individual work and spiritual work and personal growth to find power in the pain, and we got to just go through those stages of the pain, from the shame, not wanting to talk about it, to not even want to act like it's there. Now, in this season, I should say, very comfortable with every problem that I got. I mean that. Bottom line, I'm really cool. Whatever happens, I'm cool. I'm not trying to be like nobody else, and I know that it's going to make me better. And I hope everybody knows that.
What would you tell somebody that's really struggling right now? You said it, like dealing with the shame. I feel like that's a big thing, especially with men right now. We're kind of keeping that in and holding that in, and trying to shoulder it, trying to, the cliche term, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Ain't nobody gonna help you out here. You got to get through it. You got to do it. Ain't nobody gonna do it but you. What do you tell somebody that has that mentality?
If you want to hear the biggest soap opera in the world of people dealing with crap, go read the Bible, because all of these dudes was messed up, man, for real. Solomon, one of the wildest dudes out there, and David was wilding out. I forget the king that tried to turn Abednego, Shadrach, and Meshach.
Oh, Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar, saw like Saul told David a couple times, like, I ain't gonna kill you. I promise I ain't gonna kill you. And then go throw another dart at him again. You know what I'm saying? So these dudes are wild. So if anybody dealing with shame, just just know you're not the only one. And then find trusted company. Just because people are around you don't mean that those are the right people.
Mm,
So it's tough to be talking to somebody who enjoys seeing you lose, and you over here trying to talk about how you're gonna get through it. They say, man, sucks to be you.
mm,
You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So you really gotta guard the company you keep, because these people are in your garden, and haters
mm,
step on your garden. Haters
mm,
become bad soil. They become oil instead of water. So you're dealing with shame. It's okay. We all do. I do. We all deal with it. But the difference between probably somebody getting out of that season is their company, and then the words that they're telling themselves. Because you can't be in shame and then go listen to other people who are in shame as well. Because whatever you tune into, you turn into. And if you tuned in to other people that's talking the same talk that you talk, and you're going to get the same result.
mm,
So just logically, let me evaluate, let me audit my circle, and then let me go tune into different words, because the stuff that I'm talking to and telling myself is not producing the result that I want.
mm,
So just start from a practical perspective, and then it'll become, more like emotional and spiritual. But just take action and be like, yo, get out of that. Get out of that.
mm,
You don't have what I want, so let me go talk to somebody who supports me, who's trusting me. That's
mm.
the things that will protect my heart and handle with care in this season.
What can you do to tell people, like, you might be in a dark tunnel right now, and they might be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? What is it like to get through that tunnel for you? What is it like to experience the goodness of God on the end, like, obviously, yeah, the not giving up. You can get through this, you can do this, but what is it like? What is that feeling like when you got through it?
Peaceful. Peaceful, yeah. It is definitely um and I think it's proof. It definitely is proof that you're not doing this alone. So for
Mm,
me, it goes back to those same, you know, um perspectives that I have. Like, that's another receipt. That's another
mm,
receipt that I got, that somebody bigger and stronger and powerful, is all knowing, is looking over me. So those receipts matter. So that it feels peaceful, and it takes a lot of the weight off to be like, you know what, next time I go through something, I'll probably talk to you more, God, a little
mm,
bit faster.
mm,
You just gave me a receipt that you took care of it. So
mm.
yeah, it's peace and receipts that I get when I get through that.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah,
I love that analogy of the receipts, the box of receipts, and being able to go back to it and really, like, see the goodness of God. And
yeah,
talk a little bit right here at the end, on gratitude. What is that to you, and how
man,
does that play a role in your life?
necessary. It's necessary. It's for me, like, I've got my book over here, and try to write gratitude, and that's how I start off my daily journal. I try to start that way. I don't do it every day,
Mm,
because I do start off the day, and sometimes I just go. But I do stay consistent. Probably more monthly than weekly. Probably bi-weekly. I do it. Writing it down, because there's something powerful about me writing it down. It just brings it like 3D life. I'm writing it, and I can see it, and I can feel it. But when I don't have those moments where I'm doing that, I do try to be grateful for something small a day. Um, and I've learned not to do big things. And I'm very honest about that. Like, I would literally today, right? Me and my kids in the car, I'm taking them to school. I said, "What are you grateful for?" And they was like, "I don't know. What about you?" I said, "I'm grateful for spoons, because it would be very hard to eat forks without it." And it just puts you in like a, damn, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? What about you? And my son's like, I'm grateful for socks. And I was like, oh, yes, because it would be very, very cold without. So
Yes.
you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I used to try to make it this big thing, but I didn't know visualization, meditation, gratitude, and things. I didn't know these were all different things. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But gratefulness, bro. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the small things, bro. I'm grateful for bed sheets.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it is necessary for me because it puts me in a good frequency and a good energy. So it is something that if I don't get to write it down, if I don't make time to write it down, then I do think about it daily and just something small.
So how can people connect with you?
I would say Instagram, Real Freedom Johnson, and YouTube, Freedom Johnson is probably where you can see me more. But yeah, because I'm obsessed with. I'm not gonna lie, guys. If you do follow with caution because you're gonna see 99% business. I'm not gonna lie to you. Every
Facts.
now and then you'll see something else, but yeah. But you can follow me IG, Real Freedom Johnson, or YouTube at Freedom Johnson.
Dude, thank you so much for sharing some of the stuff you shared today. I mean, it wrecked me, bro. That I'm telling you, the receipts, all of it, man.
Nah,
It just really brings some perspective even to me, and I'm in it just like you're in it, but it's
yeah.
nice to see and it's refreshing to see a different perspective. And so I want to thank you for that today. Hey, thanks again for watching this episode of the Free Fortitude podcast. Go give Freedom Johnson some love. Go follow his YouTube, his IG. And as always, forge on and stand strong.